If I had stood up before you in November and told you that we would be above 6 million on March 31st, you would have laughed me out of the room.
Carney may have a point there. The race on here to sign up the needed people to meet that so-called deadline, and not so-called deadline, but so-called magic number for the deadline that's at midnight. Now, despite a series of computer glitches today, sound familiar? The feds are still pushing to see that at least 6.5 million people have enrolled. A Washington Post poll out today shows overall 49% of Americans support the Affordable Care Act, and that number is up 9 points from just last fall. Now, those who are uninsured face a fee that you have to pay when you file your income taxes in 2015. Some people may qualify for exemptions. You had a very interesting piece I want to get to on it, but optically, Dominic, we've all said this is an albatross around the Democrats next year, obviously in the midterm year, and Democrats are on the record, some of them, is trying to run away from not just the president, but the signature policy. Do those numbers, both the total enrollees, but also the poll numbers, say maybe, just maybe, this isn't going to be so bad for Democrats?
No. Republicans will continue to hammer away, and rightfully so. And today's computer problems online, the glitches today, only reaffirm the problems that the president had from day one. History may be much kinder to the president on Obamacare, and it may be a great thing for the country. But right now, it's a negative for this president and Democrats.
Right now, maybe, but do you think November, same story?
Aha. Aha, you hesitated.
Well, I'm hesitating because you don't know what's going to happen in the future.
No, what you can see is a trend line. And the trend line is that after having serious political problems from an unrelenting ideological opposition and a bad rollout, all of a sudden, as things sort of get up, people are going, geez, there's health insurance. My cousin finally got health insurance. If you're going from 40% to 49%, and all of a sudden, bang, they're going to hit maybe 6.5, 7 million. Those 7 million people have networks and families. There's a trend line showing that it's not the political albatross it was. If the election were held today, that's one thing.
But it's
6 months from now,
it's still a political albatross until Democrats change their tactic on it and actually embrace the thing. Instead of running away from it, I mean, first of all, you're going to get hammered over the head with this from now until November. So what are you going to do, keep running away from it? Why not embrace it and point out the positives that it can do and start trying to change minds on the topic as opposed to just letting yourself be bullied around by this thing? Yeah, the numbers are starting to change a little bit, but unless the Democrats start using it as a political weapon, it doesn't do them any good.
You have to look at that poll in context with others. The AP poll that came out shows that support is at the lowest it's ever been for the Affordable Care Act amongst the American public. Dominic is right. This is an absolute disaster for Democrats going into the midterm. It will be in November because, number one, turnout's going to be a problem for Democrats. And talk about trend lines. This was the case in 2010. If they hadn't chosen Mitt Romney, it would have been the case in 2012, but they did, and it's going to be the case in 2014. Republicans are going to pick up in the Senate, maybe take it over, and they're going to maintain, if not pick up, in the House.
Would you take this down, get this tape down?
So absolutely. And we'll arm wrestle about it, Richard, because listen, this is putting aside your personal feelings or not, this is so not something that people in the American system are looking at. And Dominic's right, history may be kind to it, but present day politics is going to be very bad for it.
That's a snapshot for today. And
yesterday, this is the election we're in. This is the election season.
We're on March 31st.
Yeah, absolutely.
We have 8 months, 7.5 months.
Absolutely. And primaries are going on right now. And you look at what Democrats do you know are going to get out? Republicans are going to be out in full force the way they were in 10 and would have been in 12 had the Republicans been smart enough to run on this for their own political will.
As a polling expert, if you call it Obamacare, it's much less popular than if you call it the Affordable Care Act. And that's much less popular than if you say, stay on your parents' insurance until 26 and provide universal coverage. And the things that it provides, it's the sales pitch, it's not the product.
For pushing the sales pitch. I think they've done a great job in the last few weeks, but this takes time. We knew you don't introduce health care and people are excited and want to change. We don't know how that's going to turn out. So it's going to be a long time.
Did I get a we don't know out of this?
No. Long term, Richard. Long term, not November. Richard, November. I am like Nate Silver. I know.
The three of us do know, and I'm talking to you and Andrew,
Are you
Dominic.
excluding me?
I am.
Because I'm the woman here, Richard.
Richard's a selective media person.
Sexist,
Both of you are.
Richard.
But this is what comes next out of this story. I think they'll get a nice bounce out of this thing, that they'll hit 7 million when it's all said and done here, okay? But you're going to have now, I think, the packages on our end in the TV side. And you can go one of two ways. One is you're going to have employers start to say, somebody, it might even be only a small portion, but TV will make it look much bigger. We're going to have to lay people off because I can't afford the program. Okay, and that'll be a big story. And then you know who will take it and run with it and everything else. You're also going to find some people to say, I can't afford it. I have to pay this fee now. Oh my God, what's going to happen? On the flip side, if they actually embrace the thing, you could do human stories to say, look at me, for the first time ever, I have health insurance. Look, my pre-existing condition, I couldn't get care before. Now, instead of camping out in the ER, I can actually see a doctor. To me, that's the next part of this, that I don't know how it goes, but the smart ones, we always make fun of the Blasio communication staff, the smart ones are going to figure out how they get TV to put real human faces on this thing, and it'll change the opinion. Nobody's really done that yet. It's all been about Obamacare bad, or Obamacare might be good, you know, but it's not about the real people. I'm still waiting for that to happen. I think it will.
You may be waiting a while longer. I mean, the negative stories, you know, and Dominic, you know, everybody here, negative stories tend to play better and tend to get more attention.
You mean the
than
TV
than the
journalists
positive
tend
ones
to
do.
do that?
It's, I wish it weren't so.
But
They're
Andrew,
easier
but
to
we
do.
all know you can't ignore the bully pulpit of the White House.
Right.
And so you're right, Richard, because there are many of us, myself included now, with kids that were in college or out of college, as you know, that the insurance already kicked in and they were able to continue to have health insurance. The White House needs to sell that story, and they haven't done that yet. They need to be aggressive rather than letting the Republicans control the what's going on media-wise.
It's going to have to be the creme de la creme of the stories, though, the life-saving procedures that are available. And look, now I'm not in debt anymore, or as I would have been. It's got to be really something that tugs at the heartstrings, just from an optics
Keep in mind,
standpoint.
you're focusing
Hey,
that
I was able to go to the doctor. Doesn't
on
really
a
play
very
that well.
narrow stretch of the electorate. The anti-Obama 38% is going to be anti-Obama,
Sure.
and the pro-Obama 42% is going to be pro-Obama. The people in the middle are going to be much more judicious in their reactions than Fox News or Richard
But they
French
still
Live.
don't know what's in it. And that's the problem. They still don't know what's in it. And I know why they don't. It's complicated, right? But I think now is the time that you have 7 million people, right, who signed up for the thing. Some of them got to have a good experience. I know some have had bad ones, okay? Whoever can put the human face in the story, the guy from West Virginia, right, who can find, you know what I mean, right? I think that's going to matter more at this point between now and November, but we'll see. Fair's fair, though. Did you think they would have gotten the 7 million before the end of March? I didn't.
No, I didn't.
Yeah.
And you know, when we look at what happened in the fall, I think it's, you know, it's a success, but it is still a huge, huge leap to say that that's going to work
On
for
March
Democrats.
31, I think you're right.
Yep.
All right, please go to Facebook and Twitter and answer our question tonight. What will it take for Obamacare to be a success here? We're going to get your reaction, obviously, in the mailbag coming forward. But coming up next, opening day in Queens. Weather kind of cooperated, and the Mets, they kind of had a good beginning to the day, at least here. The 2014 season here. Well, there was even some booze for the mayor here. We'll show that as well here. But the question is, would the Mets turn around when it was all said and done? We'll tell you straight ahead.